Hey guys, Rick from DFS On Demand here, back with another preview, this time for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. But before we get into that, I want to look back at last week at the Valspar and show you the best lineup that I had. It was obviously really good. Adam Hadwin, 489.5 points. These are a lot of guys that we talked about last week. In fact, I think I talked about every single one of these guys in the video last week. Maybe not Duffner, but I talked a lot about Finau. I talked about Glover. You know, I love Stenson and Woodland. Woodland was kind of the one that really hurt us here, but we got access to Hadwin as well. This lineup allowed me to win the Fantasy Golf Degenerates Listener League. That's a podcast. If you guys don't listen to it, I highly recommend it. It's Fantasy Golf Degenerates. Go look that up on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. But yeah, I was able to win that, take that down. It's a fun little tournament. The same lineup was deep in the birdie. I think we had a top 100 finish there. So a pretty good result. We did lose a little bit in the quarter arcade, but other than that, we had some good action out there. All right, so let's turn our attention to the Arnold Palmer Invitational being played at Bay Hill. This is going to be a difficult track. It's long. Scrambling is going to come in handy. Speaking of those key stats, let's just knock them out of the way, out of the gate here. So these are my key stat rankings for the week. If you have not seen this before, I take the 4 or 5 key statistics that I think are going to be really important this week, and I rank them. Then I add up those ranks, and I get essentially what is a power ranking of who my top golfers of the week are. This was pretty good last week, fairly accurate. I think our top 11 or 12 golfers all made the cut. Tony Finau was in there. Just off the top of my head, it was a really good list. So what do we have for this week? Par 4 scoring. So basically, all the par 5s on this course are gettable. I don't think anybody's going to have a real issue on the par 5s. So turning our attention to the par 4s where it's going to be really important to score there. A lot of long irons coming in on these greens. It's a long course. Guys are going to be hitting 200 yards or more on a lot of their approach shots. So I'm looking at greens in regulation from 200 yards and out. You'll see a couple of these stats here for us. So scrambling and then strokes gained around the green. Somewhat similar. So, you know, when someone misses the green, are they able to recover? Are they not giving shots away here? Strokes gained around the green is a nice correlation to the winner. And then you're going to have to make a lot of birdies, a lot of eagles. With the way the scoring is set up on DraftKings, we're looking at birdie or better. So if I reference those stats, this is what I'm talking about. All right, now we've got all that out of the way. Let's actually look at the player pool here. Lots of big names. I mean, we don't have Spieth, we don't have DJ, but we've got basically everybody else here and a lot of big names to choose from at the top. I'm going to love Rory. You know, if the guy had one leg and he was teeing it up, I'd love Rory. He's just, you know, to me, a generational talent. He's going to be fine in every single tournament. I'll have plenty of Rory. I don't think I need to talk about him too much. Stenson is another guy who, you know, when you say things like he's going to be hitting a lot of long irons, you know, you need to be accurate with 3 irons and 3 woods and, you know, all these different clubs that he has access to. Stenson is that type of guy. You know, coming off it was almost disappointing, right? He goes out and shoots a 64 in the first round last week and then doesn't break 70 again. Really missed a lot of putts just on the edge. I thought he was putting well. It just didn't fall for him the last couple rounds. Henrik Stenson's going to be just fine. This is a nice little run for him. Now it gets more interesting. Jason Day. What is Jason Day? The defending champ, doesn't play in Mexico. He's got double ear infections. Is he going to bounce back this week? I think, to me, he's kind of only a play if you know what his ownership is going to be. I don't know how popular that Jason Day will be. If you told me I was going to get him at 10, 12, 13, 14%, I'd probably be all in on him. Obviously, a guy who can go out and win any given week. He's got the skill set there. The general public just has not seen a lot of him. Okay, here's 2 interesting guys, Ricky Fowler and Justin Rose. If you noticed, those guys are my top 2 in my power rankings here. Justin Rose, number 1, Ricky Fowler, number 2. Both are excellent in par 4 scoring. Both are excellent from 200 yards out. Ricky Fowler is the elite guy in the field when it comes to scrambling. And Justin Rose is just going to make a ton of birdies or better. I mean, these guys are the two big options. With their price both being under 10 grand, I bet you can get both of them in a lot of lineups. We'll talk about a few guys in that $7,000 range that you can level this out with. But here's Ricky Fowler and Justin Rose. Both will probably be staples for me, whether they're in the same lineup, whether they're spread out. I'm certainly going to have a lot of these guys. They check off all the boxes. Terrell Hatton, $9,100, the most expensive he's ever been on DraftKings. 4 finishes this year, no worse than a tie for 13th in any of them. Strictly from a game theory perspective, Hatton is the GPP play of the week. No one knows this guy. I mean, yeah, he's kind of been somewhat of a DFS sweetheart, but the general public who's coming in for the Arnold Palmer, who's gearing up for the Masters, they're not going to play this guy. There's a lot of big names in the field. Hatton's over $9,100. It just doesn't make sense to play him when you can get Snedeker, Paul Casey, Zach Johnson, Adam Hadwin, last week's champion, guys that the general public is going to be more familiar with. So I don't know if Hatton's going to have a good week or not, but strictly from a game theory perspective, he's going to be a really interesting option. Speaking of Zach Johnson, there's another guy that checks off a lot of the boxes for me. He checks in my key stats. He is ranked number 7. The only thing that kind of hurts him is he's ranked 52nd in birdie or better, but stellar around the greens. Has had a couple of good finishes this season. You know, I'm willing to invest in Zach Johnson again. By the way, sorry, so before I forget, last 2 years here at Bay Hill, Zach Johnson, a solo 5th and a tie for 9th, which is his 3rd finish in the last 5 years that has been in the top 11. So Zach Johnson, really good course history here as well. Adam Hadwin will be popular. Defending champions are always something I tend to shy away from, especially first-time champions. Adam Hadwin has been pulled in all different directions as far as press goes, something he has never seen before on tour. I think he'll be fine moving forward, but it's really, really hard to back up a win with another high finish, especially when it's your first win. So that's strictly narrative, but I'm not going to have as much of Adam Hadwin as I did last week. Okay, Kevin Na. As we start getting down into this range and we're looking for value, Kevin Na gets cut last week. He cost $8,700. Big discount at $7,600 coming into the Arnold Palmer. Okay, Kevin Na. Last 3 times he's played here, 6th place, 14th place, 4th place. You go back 2010, tie for 2nd. The year before that, tie for 11th. Killer results here at Bay Hill. We'll flip back to the key stats. Kevin Na, my 3rd ranked golfer in key statistics. Again, really good around the greens. Really good in terms of par 4 scoring. That's what we're looking for this week. Kevin Na really stands out there. And then as we get further down the list here, Wes Bryant, God, man, this guy is going to win on tour soon. Might not be this week. This is a tough field, but this guy is going to win on tour. He's figured it out. $7,100. This guy has no worse than a 7th place finish in his last 3 starts. He won 3 times last season on the Web.com tour, which I know what you're saying, Rick, it's the Web.com tour, but winning translates. Like, this guy knows how to win a golf tournament. He is finding early success on the PGA Tour. He's going to win at some point. Only $7,100. I will be back on him again. And then I thought I had one more guy to point out. Okay, yeah, Pat Perez, $7,000. Again, we're going back to the key stats here. Pat Perez, 5th on my list. Really gets overlooked as well as he plays around the greens. You can see strokes gained around the green, 5th. in this field, 9th in birdie or better, 15th in scrambling, really good on par fours, having a really stellar year. Here's another guy that's been knocking at the door, waiting for something to happen, waiting for that big win this year. Pat Perez is a guy that I'll, again, be investing with. So I don't like to get too much into actually plugging guys into lineups, but I mentioned it before, so I want to see where we stand here. Pat Perez, Ricky Fowler, Justin Rose. Like, if you started a cash game lineup with that, you'd probably be in pretty good shape. You'd have 7,800 kind of to mess around with for each remaining player. You could probably do a lot worse. I don't think you have to do it. I think there's plenty of routes to go. It's only Monday. This could change a lot between now and then, but this would not be a bad start to a possible cash game lineup. So that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below or tweet me. It's at DFS On Demand. I'll keep pumping these videos out as much as I can, and let me know what you guys think. Thanks. See ya.